we received an extremely tragic news reported that three Verona citizens has been found dead at Capulet's vault. The three victims has been identified to be teenagers of aristocrats in Verona. Romeo Montague, a 16-year-old male who is the only child and the heir to the noble family of Montague. Juliet Capulet, a 13-year-old female who is the only daughter of the patriarch of the House of Capulet. Count Paris, a 25-year-old male who is a kinsman Escalus of Verona. The causes of their deaths are truly tragedy. According to forensic investigation, the causes of death of the victims are completely different from each other. It is believed that Paris and Romeo has a duel in which Romeo emerged as a victor. Romeo and Juliet have both committed the unthinkable, which is suicide. Deeper analysis has shown that Romeo has drank a deadly poison and Juliet stabbed herself. Now, please turn to our field report, Mr. Jim David. He is currently at Capulet's vault, where is the murder took place. He will interview Father Laurent, who is the very important witness.
Yes, thank you, May. I am now at the Capulet vault where the tragedy has taken place. I am currently with Father Laurent. If I may, Father, could I ask you some questions related to the recent event that have shocked the entire nation?
Yes, of course, you're welcome to us.
Yes, Father. Could you tell me about the relationship between the three victims? How do they relate to each other, and what are their conditions?
Well, you obviously know the history of that family, the Montague and Capulet. So, as we all know, like that family is not like go well with each other, but their family child are falling in love. Romeo come to me and told me that he fell in love with Julius, and so was Julius. But Lord Gabriel, he told me that he wants Julius to marry another guy, and the guy is Count Paris.
Thank you, Father, for your answer. And I have heard that there was a duel between Romeo and Paris. So, who would you say that started the duel?
According to sources, Count Paris actually the one who provoked Romeo into a fight. And you see, when Count Paris saw Romeo at Julius' tomb, he think that Romeo come with like a bad minded, because as we all know, like the two family never be in good terms. So Count Paris thought maybe he come with a problem, something like that. And for that two family, the sad thing is like they don't even know why they hate each other, because the reason they hate each other is like long forgotten.
And do you know about the other reason for this horrifying act that the two lovers suicide?
As I mentioned earlier, about the history of that two family, and there are also another factor as well. But the one thing is, Romeo was supposed to get the letters that told him that Julius is not really dead, but because of the complication, Romeo thought that Julius is really dead. So he ended up at his life near her, and somehow when she woke up, she saw Romeo, and then she decided to end her life as well by stabbing herself to death.
Thank you, Father. Now back to me.
Thank you, David. Now, please welcome our analyst, Mr. Chu Văn Bạch.
Yes, of course, thank you.
And today, we also have our special guest to join us. Please welcome Dr. Chun Son, who is a psychologist.
Thank you for having me today.
Alright, now we would like to know about your perspective on this horrible event.
Well, I would say that it's rather complicated, as the situation has many factors to blame for. For one thing, there's of course the feud between the family. If it was a normal family, then none of this wouldn't happen in the first place. Another thing is the fact that both the victim Romeo and Juliet, they are very young, they are teenagers, so you would expect them to not act normally, so their behavior would be strange. Would you say that too?
Yes, I do agree with that. As we know that Romeo just only 16 years old, and he's quite very, I can say that really young in order to decide to do something. For example, in the way that he decided to protect Maxwell is really dangerous because he caused life to death. And let's talk about Juliet. Juliet's quite really, I mean, super young because Jackson is 13 years old, and as we know, she lives depend on her parent. So she is like someone who know, I mean, I can say that know nothing about life outside. I mean, not really experienced enough about life, and she cannot, in other words, she cannot live without her family. So it's quite sad that she decided to walk in this way. Yes, thank you.
Another factor that's lead to their death is of course Ferris Lawrence. For me, I think he is equally responsible for their death, since he decided to help the teenager. You know, emphasize on the word teenager. They are really young, and he helped them without telling their parent. I think that Ferris Lawrence is kind of irresponsible. Since you know, as someone in his position, he should know better on how to help their children, on how to help a teenager who needs guidance. And another thing is that Ferris Lawrence, he's an advisor to Romeo as well, and Julian also comes to him for help, and he would believe her. He would influence her a lot, and she really believed in him because he is a wise man. But for me, I think he's not really wise because his plan led to their death. Would you agree with that?
Yes, of course. I think he's the one should be have full responsibility with the situation that happened, because as we know that young adult not really, I mean, in the life that inexperienced, and then there are ways. Why don't she choose? For example, if his reason is just want these two families come together because Romeo's family and Juliet's family are for a long time ago, and then his idea is good, his intention is good, but the plan is not really good. I mean that it's like lacking of something behind. For example, if he really want to do it, why don't they just call both family to meet up and talk to each other and then find the solutions, and just try this way first in order to make another plan, because the plan, who knows that the plan will always come true. So yes, I think he should be the one who take full responsibility with this situation.
Of course. And you said that their family are also responsible for this well. Would you say how much does their respective family responsible for their death?
Well, for Romeo's family is also need to do something with this. I mean, need to take responsible for the situation as well. As we know, Romeo is quite young, but also independent person. We can say that he is independent person. But anyway, I still think that there is something missed behind in his family, which is their parent. I mean, that the parent should advise, should do something in order to at least they have a talk to his child, even though they love their son so much, but they should advise him in order to grow in the proper way. I mean, grow as the person who really mature in the way that they want to have a relationship with another person. In short, I think he also one of example for another parent in order to lead their child, even though they not really know much, but parents have to take full responsibility to guide them. And for Juliet's family, I think also something lags behind, which is they allow Juliet to do something without let the family know, which is not really good to her also, because I think it's lacking of communication. Somehow they try to make plan for Juliet instead of talk to Juliet. For example, they plan to marry Juliet with Paris. They plan something behind, but they not really talk face to face. I mean that in the first time with the kid, and then they also should teach Juliet in the way that before she decide to choose something, or before she, or in other words, they should try to listen. Use the word. I think this is something that Juliet's family also miss behind, which is listen to the children. Yes, instead of just decide to do something without listen to her reasoning. So I think they must, or they deserve to take responsibility with the situation.
Yes, of course. Thank you for your input, and I hope that we could learn a very valuable lesson from this event. Now then, back to Maggie.
Well, that is it for today's news. I sincerely thank you all for tuning in today. Please looking forward to tomorrow's hot news. Thank you.